Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Colorado's real estate authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb, many home buyers want to buy their first home, but they struggle to either know what they can afford or, more importantly, whether they have saved enough to buy a house here in Colorado. How much money should a home buyer have in savings and in income before buying a house?
Well, I would say, first of all, the buyer has to figure out what kind of payment they're going to be comfortable with if they're getting a loan. That's number one. And there are some qualification rules about house payments that the lenders go by. There's actually dozens of loan programs out there. There's some with zero down, some with 1,000 down, some with 3.5% down, 5, 10, 15, 20 or more percent down. So there's all these different options. You're always better off having a little bit of cushion and savings versus not. But in general, a rule of thumb is that a buyer could have anywhere from 25 to 43% of their monthly obligations be in the form of debt and qualify for a house. So that would include house payment, car payment, student loan, that credit cards, that kind of thing. So you can just take your gross, not your net, but your gross monthly income, okay, and take all of your debts, including the house payment, divide it into your gross monthly income, and that gets you that percentage point called a debt ratio. So that's number one. And I definitely would talk to a reputable mortgage broker. A lot of people are afraid of calling a lender because they think, oh, if I call this lender and go to that lender, it's going to hurt my credit. But you can shop as much as you want within 30 days, and it's only gonna record as one inquiry into your credit. It doesn't hurt your score. But there's, pros and cons, things like down payment assistance programs. Some of them will be like a first mortgage, but then there's a second mortgage for the down payment that may not have to be paid until after you sell the house. There are different things that are available out there to buyers. But at the end of the day, it's all about whether or not they can afford the payment. And it's absolutely critical to improve your credit profile. It's really easy to make a mistake. Things like missing a credit card payment could be enough to derail your loan approval. So you want to make sure you pay all your bills on time. Also, make sure that you're putting money away into a savings account. If you have any big deposits, like a tax return or a gift from the family or something like that, most lenders are going to require to see a money trail of where that money came from. Like if you're getting 10,000 from your folks. I think right now, boomers can give up to, I want to say it's like 16,000 a year to their kids tax free, in order to kind of give them inheritance early, right? So that's quite a bit of money. So if you're going to deposit that much money into a checking account, you just want to make sure that you have the documentation of where that money came from. It can't just be a personal check because they will look into your parents' checking account too, if that's where it came from. Different down payments are out there. Kind of the rule of thumb that you hear on some of the other shows are like, oh yeah, buy a home and put 20% down. And if you can do that, that is great. That's a way where you could minimize your payment based on both the down payment and the fact that you don't have to build into your monthly cost mortgage insurance. So anything less than 20% down, there's probably a mortgage insurance portion of your payment. It may be in the form of interest rate, it could be in the form of just an add-on to the payment. But there's all different kinds of down payments. Now, there's another calculation that the loan officers do, which is called housing ratio. So they call it either front end or back end. But the housing ratio, what they're looking at is what percentage of your gross monthly income is house payment, because they don't want borrowers to be what they call house poor, right? So conventional it's 28%. FHA is 31, and for VA there is no limit, which is weird because it's 100% financing. Some tools that you can use to do your own research online just to figure out payment, because right now with the rates being higher, it's a little bit harder for people to calculate in their head, okay, if I want to spend $500,000 on a house, what would be my monthly house payment right now if I put 10% or 20% down? There's a really good tool on a company called Bankrate, BANKRATE.com, and then look for / mortgage calculator. And there you could put in your price, you can put in your down payment. It'll give you current market rates. It will guess on property taxes and homeowners insurance. So taxes are probably going to be lower than what they estimate. So I definitely would play with that tool. It's a really good platform to just kind of get a rough idea before you call a mortgage broker to see if you can afford it. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. It's called Your Real Estate Voice. And what we're talking about is really, how does a buyer financially prepare? How much money do they need to save before buying a house? What do they have to have for down payment? What do they have to have in savings? And next up, we're going to be talking about some kind of surprising costs to home buyers that they should plan for in advance so it's not a surprise when it happens. And if you are thinking of making a move, I have a whole team of buyer's agents standing by that could help you get into a home. My name is Barb Schlinker. We offer a free in-home consultation if you're thinking of selling, on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. If you're thinking of buying, we actually sit down, find out what you're looking for, give you some benefits that we have. Like, we have almost 300 properties on our proprietary platform where these sellers are looking to sell their home, but they don't want to go on the market. So most buyers absolutely love getting an opportunity to make an offer on a home that is not on the open market. And so we can offer that. We can actually put our buyers up on that platform and let them bid on those homes privately, which I think is very cool. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing how much home buyers should have in savings before thinking about buying a house here in Colorado. What are some expenses that home buyers should be prepared for before buying a home?
Well, Richard, generally when a buyer buys this home, they don't ask for the down payment money until closing, but there are some things that they will have to pay for in advance of getting to the finish line. The first one is earnest deposit. So if you find a house you love, they're going to ask for a deposit to take that house off the market and finish all your due diligence to get to closing. And that money is refundable if you don't end up buying the home. If you do buy the home, you get credit for that money that you put in your deposit as either part of your down payment or closing cost, or both. Typically, you can expect this money to run about 1% of the contract price. That's kind of the market norm, but it's flexible. Some of the builders only want $1,000. So here's some things that you'll have to pay for in the process of buying a home. First of all, typically the lenders are going to ask you to pay for a credit report to get your pre-qualification done. That's about $80. You'll also have to pay up front to the inspector an inspection on the home that you go under contract on. And then the third thing you'll have to pay for in advance when it's time is for the appraisal. An appraisal is different than an inspection in that you're paying a third-party licensed person to give an opinion of value to the bank so they can loan money on that home, and to confirm to the bank that the home is worth what the buyer agreed to pay, and that it meets those loan guidelines. And so that allows you to move forward in the process. So typically appraisals run about $750 now. For the longest time, they were $350, but they raised their rates. And I think that's fair. It's hard work. I wouldn't want to do it. All right. So You have to kind of have a plan for contract to closing. So your down payment funds, you could have saved it. It could be in the form of a gift. So whatever that number is, you want to have that sitting in a checking account and have it sitting there for a month or two. If it just hit the checking account, they're going to ask you where that came from. Sometimes they will disallow it if it's brand new to the account. Like there are some people that like to just stash cash somewhere in a coffee can in their house or in a safe. That doesn't cut it. It has to be in a bank. Loan closing costs typically run about 2% of the sales price. However, sometimes you can negotiate to get the buyer to request from the seller to help with their closing costs to get to the finish line. You may also have to pay some or all or a portion of the buyer's agent commission. That's a new thing that just happened. And one more thing that could happen if the seller has to replace a roof, there are roof upgrades that the buyer could pay for, and we've had this happen several times, that the seller's like, okay, I have to replace the roof. I'm just going to do the basic roof. But Mr. Buyer, if you want to upgrade the roof to what they call a class 4 shingle, what that means is it's like a high impact shingle. It gives the buyer a discount on their homeowner's insurance and basically pays for itself in about 3 years. So that cost might be maybe $2,000 to do that. So moving costs, you also have to be ready for that. And then, of course, you would need some reserves. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, you're the host of the program and you've got your hot new listings to share with us. Tell us about them.
I do. I have some great buys down in Fountain on some VA owned properties. And these are actually some really cool homes. This one is a fixer-upper. You're going to have to get a fixer-upper loan, but it's a big home. It also has a detached garage that right now is configured as an office, but it could hold as many as 3 cars. That one's priced at 328.5 on Fay Drive. A beautiful home, over 2,800 square feet in Fountain on Ithaca at 374.9. Another VA repo over off of Interquest near In-N-Out Burger. Really beautiful, almost new home on Domi Kite is the street name. Priced at 415. Gorgeous, lovely townhome. We have a beautiful ranch style home on Yuba Drive in the mid 4s. A fantastic home on Crandall Drive with a finished basement in the low 4s. Featured this weekend, Sunday at noon, a amazing, adorable log cabin in Divide on Friar Tuck, priced at $399.9 on an acre and a half. We've got a beautiful 2-story with a finished basement off of Voyager Parkway on Almagre Peak. That one's priced just under $610. A spectacular home up in Larkspur and Perry Park on Winged Foot Drive, priced at $1.249 million. A beautiful, almost new home on Hunter Jumper Drive in the Powers area in the mid 4s. Another great bi-level home with great views on Camfield Drive, and a absolutely spectacular home on Sunbird Hills with a 5-car garage. And we have 2 new ones featured this weekend. One of them is going to be down in Pueblo on 9 Royal Troon, beautiful high-end neighborhood priced at $574.9, and a beautiful home actually in Westcliff that I'm getting ready to feature here shortly. That home is just under 1.2 million. It has 35 acres, backs to the mountains. It has a separate gorgeous barn with its own bungalow or in-law suite. And I'm pretty excited about that one. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301 3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, or listen to the podcast on all of the popular podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thanks for listening this week. Reach out to Barb. Give her a call, 719-301-3900. Barb, you have a great weekend and a great week.